liberate, 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 liberate all of our children. What's going on here? Hold on. For whatever reason. There we go. All right. Greetings. Welcome back. Welcome back to Black Bear News, where everything is connected. How are y'all doing? Good to see you. We're live on Rockfin, Rumble, YouTube. Just getting it going today. Right on, Denver. Thank you. Yep. Everybody hit the thumbs up or whatever you can to let people know that folks are watching. Appreciate you. All right. 666. What does that have to do with anything? All right. It's voting day in Greenland. Is that what it is? I feel like, I don't know how much I've missed today. It's like, let's see. I don't know. I try to catch everything that I can, and I feel like it's just water through a sieve. Supposedly there was a cyber attack on X. Did y'all hear about this? I didn't. Other people were reporting outages or some problems. Oh, it was OBS. That's the icon. Yeah, it wasn't that strange. For whatever reason, it gives me, when I turn on my camera, it gives me options for my computer camera or OBS. Oh, yeah? A local realtor? They're the drunkest on the authoritarian Kool-Aid. What do you mean? Explain, Gene. What you talking about? In Green also likes Trump's invites. Oh, they want to be part of the U.S.? Well, who wouldn't, man? I don't know. These are jokes, by the way. Yeah, supposedly there was I didn't see anything about that. Or I didn't experience any outages Don't know anybody else who did. I'm just hearing that some people were reporting it. What does Candace Owens have to say about this? Inquiring minds want to know. Yeah, Infowar reporter was killed. That's interesting. Is that random? I don't know. Gold and silver about to go nuts, you think? Let's see. What's the price today? I mean, the stock market is absolutely tanking. The crypto market is absolutely tanking. So, yeah, silver's up. Looks like gold's up quite a bit. Um, yeah, silver's up a bit. Yeah, these are good bets and good buys. Might have to heed my own advice on that. Hold on. Let's man. Yes, the stock market is absolutely tanking, uh, wiping out, and they're talking about a recession. Did Trump even say we were going to into a recession? I mean, this is the setup, I guess. Um, Trump says he. I hate to predict things. He doesn't rule out a recession. This is the setup, which is Trump is here to oversee the Great Reset, the Jubilee, the whatever you want to call it, the Great Meltdown. You had Rumble outages. Well, what's we gonna do in the face of this? Buy legal tender? Okay. Yeah, the problem with it, the problem with buying metals. No, Salt Lakers, I'm with you on that. So, I saw a headline today about recession, and I was like, really? Oh, they're just going to they're letting us know now. We've been in a recession for the last year, at least, if not 2 years. It's been a heavy recession already, right? You have, you know, major companies going tanking out, bankrupting. Unemployment is all over, even though they are trying to report false numbers on that, unemployment is a thing. The job market is rough. People are being let go. It's hard to find replacement. It's hard to find things that pay enough to pay the rent. Inflation is through the absolute roof. I mean, if you're alive and you're breathing, you are noticing that things are like double what they used to cost a couple of years ago, right? 3, 4 years ago, everything is literally double what it costs, and it's rough out there. It's rough to go to the grocery store and buy food, and uh, you know, and I don't know if it's partial price gouging, if it's just like, hey, we're just charging what the market can bear, or if people are just trying to scoop up all the cash that they possibly can. That includes corporations and anybody and everybody is just trying to fleece everybody on the way out the door. I don't know. But things are so they're just getting around to letting us know that the recession there's going to be a recession, which has already been absolutely taking place, and they've been trying to hide it, disguise it, um, fake number it, and three-card Monty it for the last couple of years, and I don't know what they're gonna do. But when the big one hits, Then what? I don't know. Trying to get going on the show here, but oh, the realtor tried to tell you that irresponsible homeowners were the cause of the 2008 crash. Okay. She had no answer for the assertion that high real estate costs with lots of houses vacant goes completely against market principles. It does. Yeah. I mean, and is this the time to not buy a house? You know, they're raising prices out of spite. Well, they've been calling a housing bubble for god dang for a decade. They've been calling for a crash for a decade. It's since 2015. I've been hearing people just going like, here we go over the falls, and it hasn't happened. It has not happened, and all kinds of things have happened in the last 10 years, as far as up and down. Um, and how housing prices or how whatever. If you own a house, uh, your equity has ballooned just in the last 5 years, even because even houses, I feel like I don't know if housing prices have doubled in the last 5 years, but it seems like maybe in the last 10 years, housing prices have absolutely doubled in a lot of markets. So that's a heck of a heave-o. But I don't know. Um, if there is a major collapse coming, if there is a major recession coming, maybe buying a house ain't the right move right now. Maybe wait until buy the dip, buy the dip. Don't buy right now when we're at the top. Don't buy the top. Standard advice, standard investing and or trading advice. Don't buy the top. Um, and we're probably at the top right now of the housing market. So maybe don't buy the top, even though everybody's like, "Oh my God, I got to get some." Yeah, but if you buy some and then you lose it, well, then you got to start all over again. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's see. Gene says I have over a 2.25K disposable income, but FHA tells me I can't afford over an 850 a month mortgage. Well, that seems a little weird. Her false justification for this is I'm a bad risk because of my 5-year-old bankruptcy. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, uh, again, people were calling a housing crash 10 years ago, but if you bought a house 10 years ago, your house value probably doubled. So, so much for the financial gurus out there who were saying like, you know, get your gold and silver and, duck and cover. I don't know. Denver says properties that were at 350K now at 250K in Panama City. Really? Is that true? I don't know. Well, I'm just talking about what I'm seeing in LA and in a lot of other places actually. In LA, if you owned a home 10 years ago, you're feeling good right now because it is wild out there. Just a regular ass bungalow is $1 million here. And probably 10, 15 years ago, you could have got that for 300K, 2, 3, 400K. All right, we've jawed enough. Denver sent me this. Oh well, here we're going to look at this for a sec. Sorry, got caught up in what I was doing here. Hate to predict things. Trump doesn't rule out U.S. recession amid trade tariffs. um, well, if raising the interest rates doesn't push you into a recession, then the tariffs will maybe. Supposedly, this tariff thing is a long-term plan. But the stock market is not liking what's happening. Crypto is not liking what's happening, even though he announced a crypto reserve. Crypto doesn't care. He announced a crypto reserve, and crypto was like, I'm out. I'm out to dough. So gold and silver seem to be the thing that people are really hedging with, and cash. Take your pick. Do your best. But all the people predicting a crash 10 years ago were saying, well, because the interest rates were at zero for several years after the recession, and we had quantitative easing, and so everyone was predicting that as soon as they started raising interest rates, it was going to pop the several trillion dollar bubble, and everything was going to come crashing down. They started raising interest rates, and things have been real rocky, but no crash yet. Let's see. What's Candace Owens talking about? What if the cyber attack on X was just a prelude of things to come? Okay, well. Sorry, guys. Dang, play that whole thing. There was no sound. Hold on, hold on. Let's try it again. Thanks for letting me know. This is important information, actually. Low volume, not audible. I don't know. I'll try the sound again. Let me know if you can hear it.
Is what would you do if they brought the power grid
Let me
down?
know if this is different.
And by they, I mean if the government purposefully brought the power grid down. And I'm not asking that question for fun. I'm asking that question because the World Economic Forum is predicting that a cyber pandemic, you can look this up, they've been running exercises about it this year, is inevitable. You're probably saying, what is a cyber pandemic? Doesn't make any sense. Like, what are we even talking about? Well, first and foremost, the reason I'm even paying attention to the World
Can you guys
Economic
hear it
Forum
now?
and their exercises is because they notoriously, in 2019,
I'm just going to pause for a second. Can you guys hear it? Please let me know if you can hear it the second time, please. Okay, thanks.
ran an exercise for a coronavirus pandemic that oddly all became true. I mean, without one slight difference, they said that the coronavirus was going to escape from a wet market in South America. Of course, when the coronavirus swept the world in 2020, they said that it escaped from a wet market in China. You can still look that up, by the way. That's not a conspiracy theory. That they simulated that coronavirus pandemic. It was the World Economic Forum in collaboration with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, in collaboration with Johns Hopkins University. And the website is still up, and they say, the coronavirus pandemic is inevitable. And then, boom, it happened the very next year. So people say it's a conspiracy theory to believe that they knew that the coronavirus pandemic was going to happen. You don't have to believe it was a conspiracy theory, or you can believe it wasn't a conspiracy theory. It's up to you. I don't really care. The point is that they made the prediction, they called it inevitable, and then it happened immediately. So for me personally, that signals to me that I should probably pay attention the next time the World Economic Forum makes a prediction and calls it inevitable. And lo and behold, they are predicting that a coronavirus pandemic, a cyber pandemic, pardon, is going to happen, and that it is once again inevitable. So if you look into the exercise that they have run this year, I believe they ran it in July. They've been meeting and talking about the cyber pandemic, what it would look like. Essentially, their idea is that they're going to have to sanitize the internet because a bug, think of this as like a coronavirus for your computer, is going to sweep globally. And the only way they're going to be able to stop this bug from infecting everything is to effectively shut down the internet, right? And they were talking about bringing down the power grid in an effort to do this. So imagine the government bringing down the power grid, and you would not have access to anything that required an electrical charge.
Yeah, that's real. That's real. That's really real. This is why. This is why people are buying the gold and the silver, or maybe stacking cash, or stacking water and food. This is why. Um, anything can kind of coalesce into something, into bringing this about. If we have a economic crash in this, or this could be a good, you know, reason for an economic crash, or coalescing with an economic crash, or, um, stay on your toes, stay wary. um, this is, yeah, long been predicted. Yeah, Gene, like I would like to buy a house or some land for sure. Even though I just said it might be a dicey time to try and do that. But, you know, I guess better to own something, I suppose. The problem with owning some land, or maybe not land, depending on where you are, but the problem with owning some property is that you can't move it. You can't take it with you, right? And we're in the age of possibly, multiple calamities forcing people to leave where they're at, whether it's a weather disaster or social upheaval, right? You know, if the economic crash is bad enough, right, you might have to get out and get to where you can find some food. Um, Maybe leaving your beloved house behind, right? To at the for the mercy of at the mercy of looters or whatever, or whoever, the local law enforcement can keep it safe. Like, that's the thing about owning a house. Buy a boat. Yeah. I mean, there's always all kinds of ways to think about it, right? It might be better to be mobile. Might might want to get you uh, a big trailer or a school bus or something that you can like rock on out with. Oh, look at here. It looks like it's time to go take a drive to Montana. You know, um, I don't know. You kind of have to make your choices and roll the dice. You're not going to make the perfect decision. Um, you're not going to make the perfect decision. You're just going to have to do your best with the information that you're given. Interestingly, I'm rereading Parable of the Sower, and they're talking about people having to leave their home. They're talking about a president being elected and slashing funding for extraneous programs in order to get the economy back. The economy is so bad in this book, in this scenario, that happens to take place in 2025. By the way, in this scenario where no people, water is very expensive, uh, electricity might be a luxury. Um, People are doing a lot of backyard gardening. Fires are a thing. Looters are a thing. Walls around neighborhoods are a thing. Buying land is the best of bad choices. I mean, I would think that, yeah, if you had some land, maybe had a safety, uh, kind of a safe house, or a place where you can get out and go park yourself, you know, have an acre or two of land somewhere. Food situation, mobile will starve. Well, again, you gotta take your chances with make your choices and hope they're good ones. I'm not telling anybody what to do necessarily. I'm just laying out different scenarios. Um, oh, Denver sent me this. Scientists just built a CO2 eating machine that runs on sunlight. Hmm. Wow, sounds really great. I don't know. Is this going to work out? They've developed a sunlight-powered reactor that directly captures CO2 from the air and transforms it into sustainable fuel. Sounds like magic. Unlike traditional carbon capture methods, the device requires no fossil fuel energy, making it a game changer for climate crisis by mimicking photosynthesis. Or sounds like you could plant some trees, maybe. We've built these machines that mimic photosynthesis. They operate just like trees. Oh, or other plants. Oh, okay. They But I guess trees don't produce. I guess they could produce gas. It produces syngas, a crucial ingredient in fuel and pharmaceuticals, with plans to scale up for liquid fuel production. They developed a solar-powered reactor that captures carbon dioxide directly from the air and converts it into sustainable fuel. Okay, okay. The innovative reactor has the potential to produce fuel for cars and planes, as well as essential chemicals and pharmaceuticals. It could also provide a reliable energy source in remote or off-grid locations. Hmm, sounds pretty cool. Also, we have things called trees. I don't know if we need to make more gas. I think we need to plant more trees or nurture the ones we got. But sounds really cool. Soon, science is going to let us know that we already have everything that we need to survive in its own natural form on the planet. The paradise that they described in the Bible was a paradise. And then we ate of the tree of knowledge because we thought we knew some stuff and we destroyed everything. Sin. Seems to be playing out. I'm not even religious. Mark Carney, a globalist banker and Canada's next prime minister, is pictured with Ghislaine Maxwell, the number two in Epstein's sex trafficking ring. This is from James Lee. We talked about this yesterday. Is this just a coincidence, or is there a deeper story behind their alleged connection? What does this mean for Canada's future? The photos of Carney and his wife Diana with Ghislaine Maxwell, the British socialite turned sex trafficker and Epstein associate, now serving 20 years in jail, were taken in 2013 at the Wilderness Festival held on the estate of Carney's sister-in-law, Lady Tanya Rotherwick. The Carney campaign has denied any and all connection and friendship with Maxwell. As a child, the woman you reference, Maxwell, went to the same high school as Mr. Carney's wife's sister. While they have bumped into each other in public settings, they are not friends. Cool. Mark Carney, they are not friends. Yet Epstein's Black Book lists an address, email, and 7 different phone numbers to reach his sister-in-law. 7. According to reporting by the Daily Mail, Tanya Rotherwick has an eclectic range of friends, one of them being Ghislaine Maxwell. Visiting Tanya after her father Robert Maxwell's fraud was exposed, Ghislaine turned up disguised in a very odd platinum-colored wig. It was also reported that when Ghislaine went into hiding after the Epstein scandal broke, Tanya's London apartment was on the short list of locations that investigators and the press speculated she might have been staying. Look at those dead-ass eyes. Those are the eyes of a psychopath. Those are the eyes of someone who feels nothing at all. With ties to convicted sex trafficker and global banking past and globalist banking past, how will Carney's leadership impact Canada? Well, I'm sure it's going to be much better for the people. He's going to be like the new FDR. Well, for this one, his time as governor of the Bank of England could lead to decisions that prioritize globalist banking interests over the well-being of Canadians. Do you think? Carney's ties to the World Economic Forum also raise concerns about his alignment with global elites. As a key player in their agenda, Carney may prioritize policies that serve international corporations and global interests, potentially sidelining Canada's sovereignty. I'm going to say that's what he's going to do. Also, given Carney's proximity to Epstein's circle, a possibility of blackmail cannot be ignored. His connection to Maxwell, a key figure in Epstein's trafficking ring, could raise questions about whether his leadership is influenced by more than just political ambition. Mark Carney's rise to being Canada's next prime minister with ties to Ghislaine Maxwell, the WEF, and the Bank of England raise serious unanswered questions. The key question: does his allegiance lie with Canadian citizens or the powerful globalist elites? Answer? 7Cs. Interesting post here by 7Cs. This all ties in together, I think. My research has led me to the conclusion that the world is run by a 1,000-year-old death cult. They've created and manipulated most of history and have marketed a false version in perpetuity to keep the masses convinced and docile. Propaganda is as old as time. Fake news isn't new. Even just the last 100 years has been nothing but psyop after psyop that has just kicked the can down the road in the direction that they want it to go, while occasionally throwing you a bone they inevitably take away eventually. Anyway, it's the continued belief in this history and the actors within it that pervades our perceptions of the world around us today, convinces us that we need institutional religions, governments, companies, and money systems in order to exist in peace, except we never seem to have peace, do we? We're capable of incredible things, but they keep the guardrails up and limit your imagination and critical thinking. They build and breed within you a facade of dependency at a young age so that you will remain insecure enough to keep relenting your own self-agency in every way, every day. Distrust authority always. Self-govern, think critically. The buck stops with us first. Yeah. I mean, we do have much agency in our own lives. And we can do, we can do what we can. However, we can only have so much agency until we, reach the boundaries of authority that rules over us. And then when you bump up against that authority, what do you do? Do you resist it? Do you protest against it? Do you try to change it? Do you try to get rid of it? Do you succumb to it? Say what? Yeah. Mike Gill ran for governor, got sued by marriage partner of the governor for $300 million for alleging the state is controlled by cartel. Huh. It's all run by cartel. It is all run by cartel. And how do you get, what do you do about that? How do you stand up to the cartel? How do you get rid of the cartel? How do you, I'm talking about the real cartel. Can you just de-energize the cartel? Can you just take away energy from the cartel? I don't know. I don't know if you can. The kooky folks, the cartels. They might actually come around and force you to force you to stay with them. The old protection money racket. All right. France has released its national climate adaptation plan, and it plans for 4C of warming by the end of the century. We should be so lucky. Yeah, dang it. I cannot get this thing to stop doing this. All right. I feel like this is old news, but France rolls out plan to prepare for 4C temperature rise by the end of the century. I don't know how you prepare for that. It's just not really possible. If we're not even at 2C and we're seeing the kind of extreme weather things going on now, what does 4C look like? 4C just looks like people running around trying to figure out like where to hide. I just don't, or even if there's breathable air at 4C, or if we're not all radiated at 4C. Anyways, and adapting, I don't know. The plan establishes a reference trajectory for climate adaptation based on scientific projections from the National Weather Service, Agency Météo France, Météo France, preparing the country for temperature increases of 2C by 2030. Okay, that's about right. 2.7 by 2050. Nope. I don't think so. I don't think that one's. So we're only going to go up 0.7C in 20 years? Nah. Nope. 4C by 2100, again, ridiculous. It's accelerating. It is accelerating. They're acting like it's going to slow down. Like it's going to slow down. Like climate change is going to slow down over the next 75. No, it's going in the opposite direction. So yeah, 4C equals Earth carrying capacity of 500 million to 1 billion humans. Sure. Yeah, well they like to sue people for thinking the wrong things and saying the wrong things. Or suing people successfully in court. See Stephen Donziger. Trump came out guns a blazing against Thomas Massie. Massie has been vocally anti-APAC and other things. Trump said, thank you. This is a long post here. Thank you to the House Freedom Caucus for just delivering a big blow to the radical left Democrats and their desire to raise taxes and shut our country down. Okay. They hate America and all it stands for. That's why they allowed millions of criminals to invade our nation. By the way, Trump is part of the crowd that hates y'all. So, but this is, either high comedy or really good acting or something. Sometimes it takes great courage to do the right thing. Congressman Thomas Massie of beautiful Kentucky is an automatic no. No vote on just about everything. Despite the fact that he has always voted for continuing resolutions in the past. He should be primaried, and I will lead the charge against him. He's just another grandstander. He's too much trouble and not worth the fight. He reminds me of Liz Cheney before her historic record-breaking fall. People of Kentucky won't stand for it. Just watch. Do I have any takers? Anyway, thank you again to the House Freedom Caucus for your very important vote. We need to buy some time in order to make America great again, greater than ever before. Unite and win. Somebody replied, he's calling out Trump for actually continuing the spending that he's crying against. They are, pushing for increased military budget and continuing the funding, all funding that is currently happening. Doge be damned. Um, um, I don't know. We'll look at this real quick. Republicans advance a government funding bill despite Democratic opposition. Oh, that vaunted Democratic opposition. House Republicans passed a critical test of their unity Tuesday on legislation to avoid a partial government shutdown, teeing up a final vote on the afternoon for a measure that keeps federal agencies funded through September. Mike Johnson moved ahead on a bill despite lack of buy-in from Democrats, essentially daring them to oppose it and risk a shutdown that would begin Saturday if lawmakers fail to act. Oh no, what's going to happen? Do you think they'll pass it? Republicans needed overwhelming support from their members on the procedural vote, and they got it. Next, they'll look to pass the measure and send it to the Senate. Lawmakers said the bill would trim $13 billion in non-defense spending from the levels in the 2024 budget and increase defense spending by $6 billion. All right, which are rather flat changes for both categories when compared to the overall top line of nearly $1.7 trillion in discretionary spending. The bill does not cover the majority of government spending, including Social Security and Medicare. Funding for those two programs is on autopilot, not regularly reviewed by Congress. Oh well, I mean, this is the usual. Why do they have a picture of Massey looking like that? Massey was the key holdout, though still a holdout. The only Republican to vote no. And Massey is, it's interesting that Trump is saying this about him because Massey has been vocal about not having an APAC handler and saying that everyone else in Congress does. So is he the only one who does not have an APAC handler? Is he going against a whole bunch of things just because he's not, or is he free to do other things? Because I mean, he seems to align with better causes and choices. He seems to be an independent voice. Is he truly independent? Just like, is Bernie Sanders truly independent? I I saw some things about Bernie having like big rallies again and picking up some steam and some following. And are people going to fall for this again? How is this possible? How are people still believing that Bernie Sanders is on their side or telling the truth or truly against the oligarchy or whatever? Um, we talked about the people in charge of the HTS, basically doing a little ethnic cleansing of their own yesterday. The Gray Zone has spoken to staff from a Western aid organization currently on the ground in Syria who say the death toll is much higher than the official count. They told us that over 4,000 Alawites have been killed, thousands are wounded. This is Max Blumenthal, did I say that? Largely without medical assistance, and some 200,000 are internally displaced, hiding from sectarian death squads that have destroyed entire villages and conducted widespread looting. A source from the aid organization said the violence erupted when Alawi self-defense militias with no loyalty to the former Assad government attacked HTS forces, causing over a dozen casualties this March. After withstanding 3 months of regular attacks and abuses, calls for the genocide of Alawites quickly grew within pro-HTS Sunni sectors of Syria, which eerily resembled those by Jewish Israelis baying for the blood of Palestinians after October 7th. Thousands reported killed in Syria as HTS allied forces attack and execute Alawites. Um, and we support that regime. Seem to be supporting all the best people, only the most democratic. Guys, if you like this show, you enjoy hanging out here and watching the show and chatting it up, and getting information and taking a look at things maybe from a little bit of a different viewpoint. If you like all that coming to you for free every day, Monday through Friday, and you want to see it continue, you'd like the show to continue, a really good way to do that is to support the show at any of the links in the description box of any of the platforms that you're watching. All the usual suspects are there: Venmo, CashApp, PayPal, Zelle, Buy Me a Coffee, Ko-Fi, Patreon, etc., etc., etc. Many of you support the show already, and you know who you are, and I appreciate you. All right. This is James Lee again, talking about why the JFK files can't be released.
I want to play you this fascinating exchange between Tucker Carlson and Chris Cuomo on why they think the Trump administration is having such a hard time releasing the JFK files. It's fascinating because I think Tucker knows why. He knows he can't say it, but he kind of indirectly hints at it at the very end if you pay super close attention.
What is that? Why have these been secret for so long?
Why don't they put it out?
Because institutions protect themselves, Tucker, as we both know.
Really?
And there's clearly information in those files that are going to make the CIA look bad.
Just the CIA?
Well, whatever. Different
No,
agencies.
no, not whatever. I mean,
I don't know because I haven't seen it.
Well, so
But it could be the FBI, it could be the CIA.
Okay, so I've always thought that. And then in January, there was a scramble over who's going to get what jobs in the new administration. And at one point, there was someone who was being discussed for a job in the intel world, and a member of the SSCI, the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, Senate Intel Committee, went to the people making the decision and said, you cannot hire this person because this person will be certain to push for the release of the JFK files. So this is in 2025, less than 2 months ago, and you have a sitting member of the United States Senate whose main goal is to keep those files secret. And then you have to ask yourself, what is that?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't actually make sense. The story doesn't make sense. And by the way, we have the file numbers of most of the files that have not been disclosed. So it's like Trump issues an executive order on January 23rd saying you're going to release this stuff. They kind of can't not release it. And yet now it's the first week of March and they haven't released it. So pressure is currently being applied on the administration not to release those files.
It seems that way.
By whom?
I don't know.
And the CIA has already been through 50 years ago, the Church Committee hearings, 1975, where we sort of know they were assassinating people, dosing people with acid, all this stuff. It's like the CIA has already been discredited. So if you're telling me that 6 weeks ago, a member of the United States Senate was trying to keep someone out of a job in order to keep these files secret, that is to protect the CIA, I don't believe that for a second.
So what do you think it is?
I don't know. But this is, there's no one at the CIA who is involved.
Then.
Actually, who's involved in the Kennedy assassination. There's no one in America who's involved in the Kennedy assassination.
That last part, did you catch it? He says that there's nobody alive in America who was involved in the JFK assassination thing, meaning that there is no domestic institution to protect. There is no individual here in America that they need to protect. And clearly, perhaps there is some kind of foreign entity that could be implicated if those files were to be released. And I'm pretty confident in saying that if it was China, Iran, Russia, Saudi Arabia, or any of those kinds of countries who would be implicated if those files came out, those files would have come out 62 years ago. There's really only one country in the entire world that America will never point fingers at, no matter what they do. And for the record, I don't know which one.
Yeah, I mean, sure. But again, like, I don't know that they can release this stuff, because even if they show who did it and how, the people that were involved and all that, it's like, I feel like it's such a stain on the country. Yes, it's such a stain, right? Because you have to, if they said like, oh yeah, totally, the CIA was involved and these are the people and this is or some other country was involved and these are the people and this is how they did it and all that kind of stuff. Like, if you did that, people would realize that if those people aren't directly still like tied to the government, they are tied to the people that are now, right? Like, it's aiding and abetting, right? The whole, on top, it's like 9/11, any of these things. It's the whole, like, they all conspired to hide this and have been conspiring to hide this, right? Like it's just funny, right? Like, the idea that Trump is going to reveal all this stuff. Most of it is stuff that everybody knows anyways, right? But the idea that he's going to reveal some new information that would, again, implicate the government, not just the government then, or not just the people in the government then. You're implicating everybody along the way. Everything, just like 9/11. Everybody is, everybody in the government, everybody who runs for office, everybody who's tied to anything like that has to go, oh, that fateful day when the terrorists attacked and united. They have to say the words. They have to say the words like October 7th or any other conspiracy. They have to say the words like, "Oh, remember when the terrorists attacked us and took down the buildings?" Like, no, dude, that's not what happened. But you have to say it that way. And by saying it that way, you're literally aiding and abetting the crime. You're aiding and abetting the continuation of the crime of covering up the crime. Like, and that is just what they're going to continue doing. You know, because I feel like if you really released this information, it would just be the feeling of no confidence. You know, the idea of just zero confidence in the people in charge would be kind of overwhelming. And I don't know how you could go forward from that. I mean, I don't, do you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Yeah, like you just would expose. There's just too many people connected to the people. You know, it's hard to reveal this information and go like, well, we're totally different. We don't do, or even you've had revelations in the past, and it hasn't really stopped anything from continuing to go forward. You know, Operation Mockingbird, case in point. They've just gotten better at the propaganda. They've just been getting better at hiding the fact that they're writing all the news stories, or they're writing the 4 a.m. releases. It's not changed anything. It's not going to change anything. It's not going to, and they're really not going to reveal. They can't reveal too much. Anyways. Honestly, because everyone now has been involved in the cover up, the active cover up of this crime. Still, not the crime, just the cover up of the crime. Still. They can't actually ever tell the truth about 9/11. Like, no way. Like, they're all involved actively covering up this crime. They're all criminals. They're all aiding and abetting the crime. It's just, yeah, I don't have any faith in that. Sure. Nobody, everybody knows who Epstein is and what he's done, right? Nobody knows when Epstein was, committed, suicide. Not one person on social media anywhere at all of any political stripe ever was like, oh, he totally killed himself. No, everybody didn't believe that story. Not one person actually, with two brain cells actually believed that story. So, everybody already knows that it's crooked as hell, right? That it's a cover up, that it's a scam, that it's a lie, that it's a, false story, that it's a doesn't make any sense, that, like. But as soon as you get close to the power structure, you have to start repeating the lie. You have to start covering for the story, right? And I guess that's what people have been pointing out as far as, the new alternative media, right? Like, you have people that were formerly alternative media that might have questioned these stories, and as soon as they start getting a little more power and a little more money, they're like, oh no, actually no, yeah, those buildings, they weren't built very well. Like, and stuff like that. Oh yeah, I mean, those guys were pretty wily how they got on those planes and drove them into the buildings. That's crazy how they did that. But they start towing the line. They start agreeing with the story. Why? Because you have to be part of the cover up. And I guess your first signal as to who might be trusted when they're giving you information and who might not be trusted when they're giving you information. Anyways. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. I don't know if I have anybody to thank today. Don't know. Don't think so. But thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being here. Y'all are super cool, smarter than the average bear, and all that kind of good stuff. I'm going to see you tomorrow on all these here platforms at the regular time of 12 p.m. Pacific. Zapruder was a Ukrainian-born American clothing manufacturer. Aha. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. And don't forget that film also was doctored and messed with and was kept, it was kept under wraps for a while, right? The Zapruder film. Like, was that the same? Was that the one that was held by Time magazine? Do I have that right? I know that there was like Time magazine was involved with something with keep holding information. Anyways, that the film was released, years after the event, right? Oh, Life magazine. There we go. Life, not Time. Let's see. Government took copies of the film, but left Zapruder with the original. He wanted the film to be protected out of respect for the Kennedys, so he trusted it to Life magazine after Life agreed that it shouldn't be sensationalized. For the next 12 years, Life kept the original film under wraps. But in 1975, Geraldo Rivera aired a bootleg copy. He called it the most horrifying thing I've ever seen in the movies. In the movies. Yeah, and isn't there a missing part of the Zapruder film? Missing frames or something? Anyways, the story around the film is weird. Yeah. Oh yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Thanks for being here. I'm gonna see you all tomorrow. Oh, my button's not working. Can I get out? Can I get out? Don't know if I'm going to be able to get out of here in a normal way. We'll see. No. Shoot. All right, everybody, rock fenders, peace out. YouTubers, peace out.